There are people in the pool, and one of them, your new spouse, is beckoning you in with open arms. Others have their back toward you, hoping you'll take as little as possible of their space. In the middle of the pool are the ones everyone came to swim with, and if they are younger than 8, they are probably waving at you. If they are 5 or 6, they might even be calling your name. If they are teenagers or adults, they may be pretending you are not there. Worse yet, they could be wishing it. Should you play it safe and dip your feet in the shallow end? Or should you take your chances and dive in? You probably can't avoid getting at least partially wet, and more so if the child ends up living with you. But how deep you go into the pool is determined by how much risk your heart is willing to take. That choice will likely be determined by how fragile your heart is, how supported you feel by others, and whether or not you are counting on something in return for what you give. Amelia Watkins writes that step-parenting is a daunting task because it requires transitioning from stranger to parental figure in the eyes of someone who has a previously established parentage. In other words, the pool is already full when you are invited in. I negotiated my feelings about step-parenting long before I became one myself because my parents are divorced and remarried. Having step-parents slightly altered my perspective on being one, giving me a little more grace and understanding in my role. But ultimately, I learned what every step-parent learns. The depth of gratitude and love and pain and discomfort you feel is directly tied to how much of your heart you decide to give. And if you weigh the cost and decide to give your whole heart, I can tell you by experience that you will be changed. So this is my story of coming to the pool and making the decision to jump in. Beginnings. Growing up, I had dreams of becoming a mom, but those dreams always assumed biology. I never imagined that I would marry at 49, or that when a child came into my life, he would be 6. I don't believe anyone hopes to become a step-parent, nor do boys and girls grow up dreaming they'll be a second spouse. Those dreams come out of unexpected turns and brokenness. Brokenness is generally overlooked when we plot out our life. As a youth pastor, I mentored many kids who called me mom, and when I got engaged in my early 40s, I had a biological shot at becoming one. That opportunity disappeared when my engagement broke up, and that story is in another book. Grace crashed in with a second chance at marriage, and this time I made it down the aisle. As a bonus, there were 2 men waiting for me at the altar. One was 6'2", breathtakingly handsome, and my age. The other was 3'9" with curly blonde hair. He was holding the pillow with the ring. My husband's 6-year-old son was the gift that came with my marriage. And even though he came packaged with another mom, I was starry-eyed at God's generosity. Loss raises the volume of grace, even when it comes with a caveat. What I didn't know was how God would use that caveat to stretch me more than anything before or since. All marriages begin with love and hope, even if there are complexities peering at you from behind your bouquet. Those complexities were seated in the first 2 rows at my wedding, where my divorced parents sat across the aisle from each other with their spouses, along with half-sisters and step-siblings who were all a part of my family since my parents' remarriages. Statistics reveal that at least 40% of all U.S. families are step-families, although the dynamics of each family can vary with the ages of the children and the circumstances of the adults. They can grow to be flourishing or disastrous, depending on the circumstances and relationships that evolve from the mix. I hope that this book encourages you that there is a long story unfolding when it comes to step-parenting. Your persevering love will make a difference in the way your step-family evolves. It may never be a traditional family,